Is there any other position? It looks like Klopp wants to bring in a forward. From everything that I've seen, Jack, forward seems to be at the forefront of Jurgen Klopp's mind. Now, caveat that by saying he doesn't want anyone replaced. He wants to add to what his options are in that position. So reading between the lines, to me, that signals, Origi, Shaqiri, if the right offer comes in, it's time for pastures new. But thinking about this forward, I mean, you can run the full gambit from Patson Daka to Rafinha to maybe Neto to the dream of Mbappe to Haaland. I mean, where do we start with this? Where realistically do you see the club looking?
Realistically, I think we'll get Patson Daka. I think that will be, our forward signing this summer. As fans, we've been sold the dream really with this big Nike signing that we think and we hope is either Mbappe or Haaland, but I can't see it, especially if we end up not playing Champions League football next season. There's eyes on Neto and Rafinha, both players who I like a lot. But due to the whole Premier League thing, the fact that there are other Premier League clubs, Wolves are going to be a bit reluctant to sell to us again after how well Jota's done for us. Leeds are going to want to, demand a lot of money for Rafinha. So it'll be difficult to, lure either of them to Liverpool for the right money anyway. So, for me, I think Patson Daka will be a Liverpool player next season. I think he will be the player that we sign, and I like that a lot. I think he's a very, very good young talent. He's got pace. He's good with both feet. He's very, very clinical. The only issue for me is the fact that he's not done it in a big league yet. He's in Austria, and for every Haaland, there's a Minamino. But I do think it will be Patson Daka that we sign in the summer.
I think a number 9 is more likely than the more wide players, isn't it? I think if he was looking at one position to strengthen, you'd say a guy for them, give an option. Firmino's not that kind of player, so it'd be a proper number 9 as an option. And I think Harvey Elliott's gonna have a big part to play next year. I think that's
a good point, and one I wanted to raise player as well. I'm torn on this, Steve. I mean, you've raised the cracking point. He's definitely one for the future, definitely one that will be coming through. But is there an argument to be made that maybe he does need a Championship loan or a Southampton Leeds loan? Maybe will he get enough game time at Liverpool? Do you think Klopp sees him already at 18 as somebody he can bring, maybe 19 can bring and put through?
I think if he played 15 games next year, I think that'd be a winner. But you look at the impact of guys like Foden and Bukayo Saka at Arsenal. Give these lads a chance, and I just think he's magic. I think he's going to be a proper player, and that's not to say rush him in. But when you look at the options coming off our bench, I'd probably rather have him coming off the bench than Shaqiri at the moment, or Origi. I think he's a really exciting talent, and I think a year in the Championship at Blackburn will have done him a world of good. His assists and his goals there have been fantastic. His goal involvements, I think, are right up there in the league. So yeah, I think that year will do him really good, and I think big part to play next year. And I think that that kind of thing may, Klopp might look at it and say, well, we don't necessarily need another wide player then. Do we bring one in for the middle?
Jack spoke about Patson Daka, Steve, and one thing that always stands out to me when I hear Jurgen Klopp speaking about transfers is the word value. And a Patson Daka for maybe, let's say, 25 million plus maybe add-ons. That sounds like an FSG Liverpool type signing, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. And we know they quite like shopping at Salzburg and Leipzig, don't we? Because it's happened. Naby Keita came through there, Mane came through there, Minamino. We know other players at those clubs. Centre backs, for example, at the moment are being linked as well, aren't they? So, we know the relationship there is good. We know. I imagine it's largely down to the way they play. Is quite similar, isn't it? The pressing kind of style. They'll look at their stats and they'll see that a play that works in those systems will likely work in ours. And so, yeah, I mean, I'd be lying if I said I knew an enormous amount about Daka. I've seen a little bit of him, and obviously we see the goals his numbers are really good, aren't they, in terms of goals this season, particularly. But yeah, I mean, it feels like a Liverpool one, particularly if we weren't in the Champions League. It feels like a good one to have a little bit of a punt on.